Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we have finally achieved the main event of the evening. We're going to be seeing our Royal Rumble winner, Roman Reigns, going up against none other than our WWE part-time champion, Brock Lesnar. Basically, WWE has been looking for its future star for a long time. You know, Triple H has been down there in Florida working with the FCW/NXT developmental, basically getting the performance center up and running, trying to find the superstars of tomorrow and basically bring them up to the roster to try and phase out the superstars of today and make sure that there's a WWE long in the future. Roman Reigns is sort of the first guy to get pumped out of this system. He wasn't really an NXT guy. He was more of an FCW guy. He was along for the ride. He was one of the first champions of NXT. He held the belt for a while. He was their champion even when he was wrestling in WWE as a part of the Shield. It wasn't until he lost to, I believe, Biggie Langston, who held the belt before he got called up to the roster as well. For a good little time until Bo Dallas took the championship. Holding that title was almost like a guaranteed shot of going up out of developmental into the big system and seeing where you found there. Since Bo Dallas is sort of hit the ground, not running all that well in WWE, Adrian Neville has lost the championship. He lost it to Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn lost it to Kevin Owens. These guys don't really look like he's going to be called up anytime soon. He's going to be in developmental for a good little time, and NXT is starting to travel around, becoming its own, brand of WWE action that you can go see, and maybe it's good that those guys get to stay down there and get a little bit of seasoning. If you've seen with the people that have been, brought up out of NXT lately with your Emmas and Bo Dallas and Adam Rose. The writers of WWE are different from the writers of NXT. Maybe they don't get the same feel. Maybe they think that they have one good idea, bring them up and we'll do this with them. But then once that idea has passed, there's nothing really there from them. Roman Reigns definitely is a big star in the WWE. Just a few months ago, before the Royal Rumble win, Roman Reigns was one of the hottest guys out there. When Roman Reigns came in and to make the save for Dean Ambrose at the Night of Champions, I'm drunk right here, at the TLC pay-per-view. The people actually cheered. They were happy to see him come back from his hernia surgery, but something about Daniel Bryan not winning the Royal Rumble, he really grew tired of the WWE universe. People just didn't really jump on board with what WWE is selling. When they went into Fastlane and they fed Bryan Danielson to him, people thought that Daniel Bryan was sort of going to be a good lamb to throw at the T-Rex for him to eat. And they had a damn good match. Probably one of the best Roman Reigns matches in a singles match that we've seen from him so far. But it still wasn't enough. And people are jumping off the WrestleMania 31 bandwagon. I'm glad. I'm excited that I'm going to be there. Two big guys, Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, going to go in there and just beat each other up. More than likely, it's going to be, the inexperienced fighter going up against your prize fighter and Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman's beast, the big guy against the little guy, even though the Roman Reigns is a pretty stacked dude. We're going to be having a lot of fun, and it's going to be a good damn match. I'm not really expecting a whole lot more than a whole bunch of punching and a whole lot of kicking. Maybe we can see some German suplexes from Brock Lesnar, since he's got that over at SummerSlam with the 16 repetitive ones. There's a lot of things they could do here. Brock Lesnar more than likely is going to be leaving WWE, at least for a short little period, so he can go and try and play negotiations. There's some people who say that, he's going to go to Bellator. He's going to go to UFC. He's going to go into MMA, where you can get a bigger prize fight payday for having a single fight, with having sponsors, getting paid for the pay-per-views, a percentage of the live gate, things like this. Since Brock Lesnar going back to UFC is going to be a big star. Not only is he a main eventer in WWE where he came from, when he went to UFC, he became the face of the company, being the big champion. being on the cover of the video games, and being one of the guys that drove up UFC 100. It's been surpassed, but at the time, one of the biggest UFC pay-per-views that they've ever had. People got behind Brock. He tended to bring a lot of the pro wrestling fans that already weren't into UFC, trying to see what was going down. I went out of my way to see the Brock Lesnar fights, and will they let Brock sort of do a CM Punk storyline the right way? We've seen it done wrong with AJ Styles. We saw it done wrong with CM Punk. Basically, Roman loses to Brock Lesnar. Brock actually takes the championship, leaves, is nowhere to be seen until he pops up in UFC. He has his MMA fight, win, lose, or draw. He comes back to the company, and the fight is on from there. But then again, Brock Lesnar, being looked at as this MMA guy going and fighting a real fight, winning it, does he want to come back and lose to somebody else? It definitely does help out WWE in the long run. It makes them look a little bit bad. They're gonna have a little bit of egg on their face, but they're gonna have somebody stand up for them the night after WrestleMania, and carry the torch for them. Without having a championship belt, what is Triple H going to do? What is Vince McMahon going to do? Will it tear apart the Authority? Basically everybody blaming each other for not being able to sign the guy? Or is it just Roman Reigns is going to go in there, he's going to beat the guy, and that's going to be it. It's going to be all she wrote, and it's going to be done from there. This is going to be a damn good main event. That's all I gotta say. WWE knows that this is WrestleMania. This is going to be the main event. This is what everybody's going to remember for the long run. You have to go back a long amount of years in order to find a main event that didn't deliver for WWE. They're going to find some sort of an ending that people are going to remember. I don't think that they're going to have a Brock Lesnar versus Big Show, the ring collapsing kind of moments, but more than likely this is going to be Roman Reigns' ride to the top. This is going to be his stamp of approval, that he is the guy. It's going to be a stamp of the approval for Triple H and the Performance Center as well. They're going to have to take some credit for being able to pump these guys out. He's going to be able to show Vince that, not only did I give you a guy that's a champion for WWE, but I give you a WrestleMania headliner. He's probably going to take some credit for the buy rates or the WWE subscriptions that come in for WrestleMania, thinking that, Roman Reigns is the star. But then again, what's going to happen to them in Extreme Rules? What's going to happen to them at Money in the Bank, Night of Champions? Are they going to see a drop-off of people really not wanting to see Roman Reigns? Triple H mentioned on the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast that when Roman comes out on television, it's a different kind of crowd. When Roman goes out at these live events that aren't televised, the fans that are there to see him, they cheer him. And they cheer him out of the building. It gets the biggest, ovations of the night. But something about going in front of that television is almost like the crowd that's there wants to show off for everybody watching at home. We hate Roman Reigns, to say that the same way that they hated John Cena before. They didn't want to be force-fed a champion that they weren't really in love with. Yeah, he sells a lot of t-shirts to the kids, sells a lot of, action figures and video games and this, that, and the other. But, the average age of the people who watch Monday Night Raw aren't the teenagers. Here on the West Coast, which isn't the East Coast. I know it's a lot earlier here when the show ends, and maybe that's the example on why they do it. When the show starts at 5 o'clock and it ends at 8:15. But honestly, this show is mostly geared as an East Coast promotion. It is showed, worldwide, but you can definitely tell that WWE cares more about the ratings on that East Coast side. The show ends at 11:15 p.m. on a Monday night. This is the first night of the week for a school night going into a Tuesday. Most kids are exhausted after trying to stay up all weekend long. Even if you're the oldest teenager, is still in high school, maybe you can get away with it, but I mean, like, your 13, 14-year-olds, definitely your 9-year-olds, should be in bed at 11:15. They shouldn't be caring what happens on Monday Night Raw. That was always the example on why they had Raw AM, even though that showed at, like, 3 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday or something like that. But, This is going to be fun. This is going to be a good one. Roman Reigns probably going to be the #1 guy at the company from here on out, and we're going to have to find where they go from there. What happens with Brock Lesnar? Why is he appearing on Monday Night Raw the night after WrestleMania? Lots of good conversations that'll lead us into the future for Extreme Rules and all the pay-per-views to come. So, like I said, I'm pumped. I'm excited. I'm glad I'm going to WrestleMania 31. I'm hoping you guys are coming. We'll be hanging out at WrestleMania Access. We'll be giving high fives. We'll be going over to WrestleCon and seeing all the different wrestling shows that are going to be scattered all over town. So if you see me, definitely hit me up. We'll do the little 2 sweets just like that. Bam, and we'll get it done. But Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, your big main event. My prediction that I'm going to give for it is Roman Reigns wins it. And I think any smart wrestling fan will give you that prediction as well. Roman Reigns taking the championship, and from there, more than likely feuding with Seth Rollins. How Seth Rollins gets out of that Randy Orton feud, I don't know, but Daniel Bryan's going to be in the Intercontinental ladder match. Maybe he just gets promoted up into the main event until Seth Rollins is done with that. But then again, the Money in the Bank briefcase expires in June. And you only got a few months to try and find a way to use that up. Maybe you go into Extreme Rules. I know everybody tries to put these, cash-ins on a pay-per-view. Maybe they go to Extreme Rules. It's Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns. They have another great, exhausting match. Roman Reigns pulls out the win. Seth Rollins comes running down there after a match with Randy Orton. Curb stomp to the head. 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins walks out the champion from there. You go into a feud of Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns, which we haven't got to see yet because of the Night of Champions match was canceled due to the hernia. And I was almost done. I'm all fired up. See, there's a lot of things that could come out of this that build towards the future of WWE. I know a lot of people look at, WrestleMania as being the Super Bowl, and once the Super Bowl was over, you go into the off season, and that's going to be about it. I know that people, after WrestleMania for April, May, June, maybe until you get to the Money in the Bank, which heats up SummerSlam, maybe they turn off WWE a little bit less, and they just go with it because it's the after WrestleMania. It's not as good as it was for January, February, March, but I'm a guy who watches it year round. Every Monday, I'm going to be there. Every Wednesday, I'm going to be watching NXT. And I wish I could say the same for Thursdays, but SmackDown is SmackDown. You know what I'm talking about? There's some other people out there like me, but there's some lifers out there who love their SmackDown. I saw people saying that the Tonight Show was a good one. So we're going to have to see. WrestleMania is right up around the corner. I'm pumped. Hope you're pumped. See you guys later.